What is going on, comic book gang? It's John C, aka Year of the Collector, and we have another installment on my weekly comic book review series. In this occasion, I'm gonna be talking about the comics for July 3, the week of July 3, right? We have about 8 comics in one collected edition that I'm gonna be going over my review and some probably additional commentary because we don't have a script for this episode. So without further ado, let's begin with Absolute Power, issue number 1. Let's see here. Absolute Power issue number 1 is by Mark Waid, Dan Mora, Alejandro Sanchez in the colors, and Ariana Mayer in the letters. This cover specifically is the Jump Team's connecting cover. Like I said before, there's going to be about 12 connecting covers that tell the story of Absolute Power. Okay, so let's go into my review of this issue. In an era of misinformation, leave it to Mark Waid to write an entire event with the premise that fake news, deepfake AI footage, and be first journalism will drown the world so fast into chaos, leaving seemingly irreparable damage in its wake. All of Amanda Waller's schemes since the dawn of DC began have come to fruition here, and she's not afraid to show her face to the public and claim herself who she always thought to be, Earth's savior. Dan Mora's art is superb. I understand now why he left other projects to focus on this one, because the amount of characters and scenes and places and action scenes is overwhelming, I'm assuming, as an artist. So if you want to do something right, like some things are gonna left behind, and in this case it was the Shazam comic book. It was a strong start to this event. Following that, we have from Image Comics all the things we didn't do last night. Here's my review for it. Maria Love does it again, and by that I mean the story, the pencils, the lettering, the colors, and the covers. She's truly a workhorse. This was a fun little easy read. I would love to see more about these characters and what other sort of problems they run into. These two characters on the cover, they're basically living two different lives, right? Like one is a hitman and the other one is like a curator of items in a museum or in a house of an auction house, let's call it. Their lives ended up coming together by chance, right? The hitman had to take care of business, and the leading lady, she had a personal gripe against one of the customers of the auction house. It's pretty cool stuff. This is coming in the heels of the Crave run that Maria Love just did, and actually I became a fan after reading Crave, so I was like, let's try it out. This was, if you like murder, mystery, and chick flicks with romantic comedy type of vibes, this is your alley right here. It was an easy, quick, fun run, and I am looking forward to Maria Lovet's next project. Following that, we have the absolute tie-in of Batman 150. Batman 150 is by Chip Zdarsky, Dennis Cowan, Jorge Jimenez, John Stanisi, and Tommy Murray on the colors, and Clayton Callis on the letters. All right, so this is the first sign of the end of Jorge Jimenez era on Batman, and I'm not ready to see him go just yet. I have it on good word that Jorge Jimenez is not going to return to the main Batman title. When I saw Jeremy Klink at Fan Denver Expo, he told me that Tony Harris is gonna be the artist because he was doing the inks for the title. So, and he showed here, Jorge Jimenez is barely got any work into this issue. Okay, so let's continue with the review. The first story perfectly encapsulates the Batman we all know and love. The Dark Knight who doesn't give up on anyone because there's always the chance they can turn their lives around. The art was very reminiscent of Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. Not my favorite, but I guess it matched the tone of the story. This and the last issue feel like good jumping points for reading Batman. I said it before, issue 149 basically brought a lot of the stuff that has happened so far kind to like a reset or soft reset for the character of Batman. And this is kind of like a continuation on that. The backup story is supposed to tie into Absolute Power, but it's just bits and pieces. Yes, we all know he feels guilty about creating failsafe, and yes, we know Amanda launched her assault on the heroes. But besides reaching out to Cyborg and finding out Amanda's possible power source, Batman doesn't do anything to contribute much to the Absolute Power event. And I didn't care for the art too much. Next up, we have Birds of Prey number 11 with a cover by Leonardo Romero. Birds of Prey is by Kelly Thompson, Robbie Rodriguez, Javier Pina, Gavin Guidry, Jordi Belair, and Clayton Collins. So first of all, Javier Pina can do the rest of the issues in this series if he is willing and they want him to do so, right? Like, I'm okay with that. If you ask me, his pencils are just as good as Romero's, as long as Jordi Belair stays on as the colorist, because she's been killing it. Kelly Thompson takes us through a new world inside this pocket dimension, and it's safe to say this is the most bombastic so far. I mean, dinosaurs, right? The birds fighting wild dinosaurs in Javier Pina's art was a sight for sore eyes. Love every single detail in every page. Finally, all the loose ends from this story are being pulled tight into the fold here. We can see who did what and why, and it's up to the birds to figure their way out of this mess. There's some cool moments here, right? Like the moment where Sin admits to the group, like it's kind of like her fault that they were here, because she wasn't sure if when going through the portal was gonna acknowledge Magaera more than her. So she focused on something really, really hard, and that was dinosaurs for her, like random, I know. But it turns out that even though she has the entity of Magaera in her, the portal acknowledged her and not what Magaera's thoughts could have been, right? Who knows what could be in that entity's mind. And then also, there's a moment there, like I have been forgetting about Vixen being in the team, and then Kelly Thompson in this issue is like, boom, Vixen is still here, don't forget about her. And I really like that. Again, my favorite series from the entire line of DC Comics. I think everybody should give this run a chance. Flip through the pages. You will understand what I'm talking about when I say the art here is just exceptional. We got the Boy Wonder issue number 3. Boy Wonder, it's by Juni Ba. He is writing it and drawing this issue. The colors are by Chris O'Halloran and the letters are by Aditya Bidikar. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce that name. Let's go into the review for issue number 3. Juni Ba cuts deep with this one issue here. We really got a peek into Damian's state of mind during this series. Is Damian even sure of who he wants to be? Does he want to be a Robin because he genuinely feels a calling for justice? Or is it because he wants to meet Batman's expectations? Think about that. You know, that pressure, peer pressure, family pressure, you know, social pressure. There's a lot that goes into this, right? Besides the existential questions, the rest of the story was very well told, especially the characteristics for Tim Drake. Tim is smart, cunning, intuitive, and a good influence on Damian, both as a Big Brother and as a fellow Robin. I smell a couple of Eisner Awards nominations for this series. So yeah, all these existential questions come into play at the very end of the run because Damian comes face to face with Ra's al Ghul for the first time since, he left that life, since his mother dropped him off with Bruce Wayne in this timeline, in this story. And I'm very curious to see how Damian is going to respond to that. Next up, we have Justice Society of America, issue number 10. The JSA is by Jeff Johns, Mikel Janin, Marco Santucci, John Calise, Jordi Belair, Ivan Plasencia, and Rob Lee on the letters. 3 months ago, I read a book about the JSA. I believe this is the same book, but who knows? For all I know, the last issue and this one could be completely unrelated. And I'm just imagining things in my head to fill in the gaps. It was a nice read and the art is phenomenal. Like you, I'm not giving up on the JSA just yet. God willing, see you again in 3 months. And this is me trying to be funny, right? Like, let's see. The JSA is on issue number 10. This comic book began in November 2022. It's taken almost 2 years for 10 issues. This run has 2 more issues. It'll end in September. I don't know if they'll relaunch the JSA under the All-In initiative, but at this point, if you have not been reading this on a single issue basis, don't pick it up. Wait for the collected edition because it'll be easier than just waiting 2 years to read 10 issues. I'm sad to say that has been the downfall of this series, unfortunately. Next up, we have Shazam issue number 13. Here you go. The creators on this book are Josie Campbell, Mike Norton, Trish Mulvihill Troy Peteri, with a cover by Gleb Melnikov. Chose another great issue to this amazing comic book, right? Freddy finally gets to speak, more than usual, about his struggle with not having access to the powers of Shazam anymore. Mary Marvel kicks ass and looks great while doing it. And all Marvel joins the fight, and the bad guys leaking from the Rock of Eternity turned out to be the Submen and their king. I'm gonna sound crazy here, but I don't miss Moira or Wade on this book. I said it before. I haven't for a long while. The current team is doing great. This is another series that, for the love of God, I don't know why it's going under the radar, but Shazam is really, really, really good. It has some themes, some really, really heavy themes, especially in the last couple of issues about family and abandonment and feelings of belonging. This run, it's gonna end up being a classic at the end of it. Next up, we have a collected edition that just came out, and is Spider-Woman Gang War. Spider-Woman Gang War collects 1 through 5 of the new Spider-Man series that started in 2023, plus the Amazing Spider-Man issue 31 in a way. This is by Steve Fox, Carola Borelli, Arif Prianto, and Joe Sabino. And Eric Koda had some pencils in there too as well. This begins because in the Dan Slott run of Spider-Man, Spider-Woman was detached from the web of destiny, and she kind of like ceased from existing for like a couple of issues, right? While she was away, Hydra, for some reason, they're monitoring children with powers around the globe. And when they found out that Jessica had disappeared, because surprise, surprise, they're not over Jessica dumping them and not wanting to have anything with them, they went after her child. They grabbed her child, they accelerated his aging process, and they brainwashed him into becoming an agent for Hydra. that goes with under the guise as the Green Mamba. And Jessica has to discover all of this through this run. So because Viper aligned herself with Diamondback during the gang war, that's how kind of like Jessica gets pulled into this whole mess with the gang wars, and she ended up helping Spider-Man and everybody else to kind of like put out all those fires that were going all at once throughout New York City. This is a really, really cool run. You know, family drama heavy, and if anything, I'm very, very happy because this brought back Jessica into comics after her Carla Pacheco run and Pere Perez run. So yeah, this is a good collected edition for people that don't know anything about Jessica. They can pick this up and run with it because Steve Fox has shown to fans like me that he knows Jessica Drew. So finally, we get to our last issue. This is Blood Hunt X-Men Psylocke, the one-shot tie-in into the Blood Hunt event that's going on with Marvel right now. This is by Steve Fox, Lynn Yoshi, Ruth Redmond in the colors, and Ariana Mayer in the letters. So here's my review for this issue. I came just for the Peach Momoko cover, and now I think Magic and Psylocke are gonna pull me into whatever books they appear in from now on. The art in this issue was so beautiful, and the coloring gave that city night light vibes, like a Vegas, like a Tokyo. It's beautiful. The action and splash pages were very pleasant to look at. Out of the 3 X-Men one-shots for Blood Hunt, I'd say this and the Magic issue are tied for my favorite as it stands today. Before this one, we had the Jubilee. Jubilee was cool, but like the Magic was just kicking ass in her issue. And this one was just like the art did it for me. Steve Fox keeps convincing me with every different title I have read from him so far, that he's a really good writer, right? I have read The X-Men and Spider-Woman, right? That stuff that comes to mind right now. Again, if you're not a big fan of tie-ins, I get it. If you didn't pick this one up, I did because I wanted all the Peach Momoko covers that are being dropped throughout the Blood Hunt event, and I don't regret it. This was amazing. That is going to be it for me today. If you stick around for this long, I want to thank you for watching. You have a blessed day, and remember to read more comics.